So full time in the Dublin Senior Football Championship, and it is a victory for St Judes. They have beaten Lucan Sarsfields by a scoreline of 118 to 305, a 7-point victory in the end for St Judes as they booked themselves into their first county final since 2018. A very comprehensive, comfortable 7-point victory in the end, it must be said, from a Jude's point of view. Lucan Sarsfields never really got going at all in this game. They had a bit of a rally late on. A bit of a bizarre game in many ways because Brendan Gallagher had 3 penalties in total. He missed one of them, but he scored the rebound. So he finished with 3 goals in the end. 3-3 actually, as a matter of fact, in total for Lucan Sarsfields. But from a Jude's point of view, this never looked in doubt. They always looked comfortable, even when Lucan Sarsfields started to put a bit of a run together towards the end of the game. St Judes would knock it up a notch, and even some of the players they brought off the bench as well made a bit of a difference, like Seamus Ryan, Brian Coakley, and even Dermot McLaughlin as well, all made a bit of an impact. They all got a point each, actually, as a matter of fact. So it must be said it was a very comfortable win from a Jude's point of view. I thought in the first half, from a Lucan Sarsfields point of view in particular, they were very impressive against Ballymun. Against Ballymun, they really took the game to Ballymun, and they always kind of kept themselves within touch and distance. They got their shooters on the ball, the likes of Brendan Gallagher, the likes of Harry Ladd as well. And in this game, they just didn't do so. They were just far too defensive. They looked a little bit... They have a very young team. I think, Desi Dolan was saying that quite a lot in commentary. 11 of their 30 squad members are under the age of 20, and that probably does tell you that there certainly is a lot of inexperience. But at the same time, I do still think there's a lot of quality in there. And I'm not too sure why they went as defensive as what they did, because for me, Jude's biggest strength is their midfield. You've got Kevin Mack dropping into that position. You've got Tom Lahiff in midfield. Jude's, they're the absolute masters, in my opinion, at playing the ball from side to side, creating the openings, whether it's Noel Coakley dropping short. Alan Connolly's a very tricky player as well. He can, weave in and out of space and create a couple of opportunities himself. So the fact they did go as defensive as they did quite surprised me, in my opinion. I think we've seen when Lucan actually started to attack Jude's in the second half, we've seen that there was opportunities and there was openings there, and I do think Jude's their defence can be got at, in my opinion. And we've seen 3 goals come from it, 3 defensive errors. The first one, a little bit soft, in my opinion. It was a tug back on Harry Ladd. I don't really think that was a penalty, in my opinion. I think if you're going to be giving penalties for that, we're going to get 4 or 5 penalties in a game. And to be fair, we nearly did get 4 or 5 penalties in this game. The second one, no doubt about it, was a foot block. And the third penalty was a trip as well, I believe, for Mark Sweeney. So there was no real argument with that. It was a bit accidental, so maybe a black card was a little bit harsh. But from a Jude's point of view, very, very, they dominated possession. They turned the ball over on numerous times as well, it must be said. They must have forced 8 or 9 turnovers in the game. Maybe even more than that. Lucan struggled to get out of their own 45-yard line, it must be said, their own half of the pitch. They struggled to get out of it completely. Their kickouts were, going astray time and time again, whether it was Pat Spillane or even, like what I said before, Tom Lahiff. They were consistently turning over Lucan in the midfield, and Judes were very, very brilliant in the midfield. That was for me where they really showed their expertise and really won this game. So comprehensive enough victory from them. Just running through some of the scorers on the day. David Mannix with 5 points. One of them was from a free. You had Alan Connolly with 2 points. Noel Coakley with 1-2. One of them was from a place ball as well. Colin Murphy with a point. Pat Spillane with 3 points. Kevin McManaman with 2 points. 1 from play. Dereck Kavanagh with a point. I nearly said Derek Hanavan there, but Dereck Kavanagh with a point. Seamus Ryan, Brian Coakley and Dermot McLaughlin all chipped away with a point as well. So certainly quite a bit of range in that St Jude's team, it must be said, in terms of scorers, and they're definitely looking as good as they have been really on this track towards winning their first ever county title. They've never won that trophy before. They've never won a county title before, and certainly as a man who lives on the north side of Dublin, I would certainly like to see St Jude's win it. All the 4 clubs remaining going into the semi-finals were all Southside clubs, so I'd love to see Jude's do it personally. I'm a big Kevin McManaman fan. I always have been, ever since going back to 2011 and that goal versus Kerry in 2013, 2015, all the brilliant Kevin McManaman moments. And I think for him to get a county title, I think would be brilliant for him. I think he's given so much to Dublin down the years, and I think he really, really does deserve that moment and that county title. And it'd be very interesting to see what they could do then in terms of the Leinster and the All-Ireland club scene as well. But no doubt about it, Pat Spillane was probably man of the match today, a man with a familiar name. the son of the very famous Pat Spillane that we very well know from Kerry football, and obviously a pundit nowadays on RTE. He actually hit 3 points in the day. Not Pat Spillane Senior, but his son hit 3 points playing for St Judes. Very impressive performance from his point of view. Some of his points was absolutely outstanding. He was absolutely brilliant. No doubt about that. And they certainly have an array of talent, Judes, like a number of shooters, a number of scorers, whether it's Noel Coakley, Colin Murphy chipping away as well. Alan Connolly's certainly been a player that a lot of people have been looking at, very good, young, up-and-coming player, and could potentially maybe break into the Dublin senior footballers this year, or maybe, I'm sure he's in a development squad or something like that. So, after some of his impressive performances, and I'm sure Desi will be at the county final. I know he was at the 2 semi-finals today as well. So, without doubt, he looks like a very, very top-class player, and he could be a player that could definitely get into, into the squad for Dublin. And considering, Dublin would probably want to freshen up the squad a little bit, not too much, but certainly maybe give yourself a couple of options off the bench, and he could certainly be one of them, in my opinion. Anyways, I'm sure they'd want to get Kevin McManaman back in the squad as well, no doubt about that. But yeah, very comfortable stuff from a Jude's point of view. I suppose from Lucan Sarsfields, look, listen, they are a very young team, a good up and coming team. Fair play to them getting to the semi-finals. 125 years since they last made a final. As we said before, very young team. A lot of their players under 20. Getting that win over Ballymun, that was a huge achievement for them, no doubt about it. To beat a side like Ballymun with the inter-county stars that they have, with the likes of Dean Rock and the likes Paddy, John Small and whatnot in there as well, Philly McMahon and whatnot. I know Ballymun certainly weren't their best this year. They certainly seemed a little bit off, no doubt about it, but I think you would have to, give the credit to Lucan for getting that victory over Ballymun. And you've seen their quality at times as well, when they were kicking inside, when they were attacking at Judes. You could see that they were causing problems. And Brendan Gallagher, a memorable championship season for him, no doubt about it. He scored 9 points against Ballymun. 6 of them were from play, and he scores 3-3 in this game. And his opening point as well was absolutely brilliant. His point from play, he just weaved in and around 2 players, very little space, kicked an absolute beauty. He might have been the point of the game as well. Was really, really impressive. And he finished with 3-3, like I was saying before, 2 points from place balls, 3 penalties. One of them was missed, but he did score the rebound, so I suppose it will go down as a goal from play. 1-1 from play, I suppose you could say. Very impressive stuff from him, and I believe he was playing for Leitrim back in 2018, so some would wonder, is Andy Moran going to get a hold of his phone number there and maybe call him back up to the Leitrim senior footballers? I don't know if he'd go back there. Maybe he wouldn't, but fair play to him. Very, very impressive stuff from him. And for Lucan, they're definitely building for the future. A lot of young players, and I'm sure they'll be back stronger next year. But fair play to Judes. They march on to the final. As I said before, I'll certainly be cheering for them in the final against either Kilmacud or Ballyboden. That game's taking place at the moment. There will be a match reaction after the game, Ballyboden and Kilmacud Croke, so there will be a match reaction out a little bit later, so stay tuned for that. My name is Aaron anyway. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. Do a number of match reactions, podcasts, interviews, a number of different videos on the channel, so if you could subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. It is completely free and it helps the channel grow and build as well. So yeah, cheers for watching anyways, and I'll see you all later.